Hey guys, welcome to the latest episode of Beyond the Tape. Really stoked to bring this episode along to you. The guest for this episode is a killer one. But before we go on to that, let me just do some sponsor plugs and thank the guys for keeping this podcast running. Firstly, thanks to Canyon for keeping this podcast running all year. The guys there are absolutely killing it at the moment. I don't know if you've seen that new Stoic model they've released, but for the budget and for the money, holy crap, do you get yourself a solid hardtail. Jump over to their website now and have a look, because that thing is killer. If you want to get the suspension on that thing dialed, make sure you hit up Aaron and the boys at NSDynamics. They do custom tuning. They offer products like Öhlins and DVO, and they'll get those bikes running smooth. So make sure you head over there and hit them up. If you want to get some sweet pedals, some sweet rims and hubs on your bike, hey, it's almost better than spinners on your car. Head over to Two Up Bike Co, get some Noble rims, lace them up to some Factor hubs, and make sure you have some Factor pedals to get your power through those wheels. They are amazing, amazing products. I have been absolutely stoked on their pedals. FE Sports, those guys are killing it at the moment. Some really, really cool kit. Make sure you head over there and check out their range of Garmin or Wahoo products. Their cycling computers, their power modules, their trainers, their everything. Like, it's killer. So head over to FE Sports and check out their range. I've had a Wahoo computer for a while now, and I've got a Garmin watch. And for both products, I can't fault them. Do everything I need. Tell me how slow I'm going. Tell me how much my heart rate is going up a hill. Because, hey, fat guy hates hills. Speaking of going up hills, Frank Mountain Bike Apparel keeps me comfy on the bike. I've absolutely been loving their jerseys. Super lightweight, breathable, so comfortable. Go over and check out their range. Their pants are coming soon, so I can't wait to get some pants on. People have been complaining of me riding around without any pants on, so can't wait to get them in here. Dirt Surfer, keep all the mud off my face and out of my eyes. 100% recycled and 100% recyclable mud guards. Almost a zero carbon footprint when you get those things. They are amazingly high quality. I have not destroyed one yet, and the custom designs don't bleed, they don't leak, they don't wear away. They're amazing. It is amazing because I keep using the Crush products on them as well. So that Crush stuff will clean up anything. I've actually used some on my car. Like, there's nothing that stuff doesn't clean. So if you want to get anything from those guys, use Beyond the Tape. Check out some have Beyond the Tape 10 or 15%, so you'll get a good discount. Also, don't forget to hit up Fist Handwear. I've been keeping my hands safe for all the crashing I've been doing lately. Love their gloves, so make sure you head over there and get some sweet gloves. Their new Dixon and Fist collab is amazing. They take your flannel game next level, so make sure you're ready for all the chicks sliding into your DMs or all the men sliding into your DMs once you're wearing that hot kit. Anyway, enough dribbling from me. Tom Mallet is on this podcast. He is a dirt jumper, dirt sculptor, and dirt sampler from Eastern Australia. Dude can ride a bike, loves his metal, loves his music. So we had a really long, good chat about everything. So yeah, enjoy the podcast. As usual, grab a beer, grab water, grab a wine, grab whatever makes you happy, and we will see you at the end.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'll wake up.
Yeah, dude, I got Red Bull. I have to drive home after this, so
brutal.
I figured I'd get the pick me up rolling from now. Yeah.
Easy, man. Tom Mallet, am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast,
Tom
man.
Mallet. Thanks, dude. It's a pleasure being here. I've been a long time listener, but yet to be on a podcast.
Yeah, sick.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was Mallet or Malay or something fancy like that.
People spell it Malay all the time, like leave a T off the end. So I always pronounce it that way when people write it that way. But it's definitely meant to be Mallet.
Sick,
I'm not as fancy as people tend to spell it sometimes.
I think you could live up to the hype, I reckon. You'd be fine.
Cheers, mate.
for those who don't know and haven't watched like some videos or follow you on Instagram or are out of touch with the mountain bike world, but who are you and what do you kind of do?
Well, I'm a mountain bike enthusiast first and foremost. I think.
Yep.
Mountain biking is like pretty much shaped my life. There was a couple of years in there where it wasn't a big part, but like became massive again. And then professionally, I'm a trail builder. Been doing that for about 5 years, and then just dabble with other fun stuff around the way as well. Got into photography a little bit, and yeah, just trying to find cool stuff to do around the country, all through the States.
So, what style of you're a bit more of like a shredder, freestyle free rider. I don't know how to put it, slope stylish, do everything rider. But when you first got into it, what was your kind of what was your focus, or did you just want to ride bikes and do whatever?
I started as a racer. I think I got like a Kona Stinky ages ago, and then I think that was like my first real mountain bike, apart from like an old Apollo. But then the dude who sold me the Stinky took me to a local race.
Oh,
well, like he was going to a local race and mentioned that I should go check it out. So straight off the bat, I went to downhill races, and then I think I remember seeing Kai Hoare and Tim Eaton and all of those guys at the local Canberra club round. I think it was a Madura round.
Yeah, cool.
And I think downhill was there right from the start. So at first I was pretty race focused. I had a lot of friends who did all sorts of riding, but I kind of trended in the racing direction for a little while. And got pretty decent at it for a little while. I won the Canberra under-19s titles 2 years in a row, which was pretty cool. But then slowed down after a couple of crashes. So
that's a pretty big thing in Canberra to get the U19s. As you mentioned, there's some pretty fast riders up there.
Well, Timmy and Tim and Kai and all of those guys were a couple of years above me, a year or two. So I wasn't competing with those guys. Definitely didn't take it off Timmy or anything like that. But they kind of I did a bit of riding with those guys and saw them at the races and stuff. So a little bit of mentorship. And then, I think there wasn't a particularly big field in my years. So it's not too much of a claim, but I don't know. It still felt good.
Still won it and sick. What was it? Yeah. So Stinky was your first bike after an Apollo, did you say?
Yeah. So the Apollo was when the low end bikes in a standard big bike shop, just front suspension, slightly thicker tires, they're kind of Kmart spec mountain bikes, but just a little bit more on the mountain bike end of things. And then just wrecked that thing, just doing jumps and building was always there. So I just I was building jumps and just flat out sending that thing. And then found this deal through, I think, my uncle's friend for this Kona Stinky. And that just became the mission, the aim. It's just saving up for that flat out, doing chores for mum and that sort of stuff. I was just I need that bike. And that, because I was Kona was the bike brand that I idolized all through school and that sort of thing. You just saw all the free ride legends, everyone riding them, and then Fabian Burrell and all those dudes just ripping them. So I was just getting a Kona straight up. That was just the bike.
Those Stinkies as well, that was the bike, especially around, what year was this? This would have been 2003, 4-ish?
2004 maybe.
Yeah. Because that's when Burrell was pinned on them. Everyone wanted that bike, hey?
Yeah, on the Stab or whatever that bike was. I think that was before the operator. And then all the free ride dudes were just hocking the Stinkies with big monster tees on the front and stuff. I remember being on I'm pink biking on Rotoburn forums and stuff, trying to find some monster teeth. Just like desperately, like, where are these huge forks? How do I find them? Messing around with like putting the crowns all the way up on my forks to like make it look like it was like super tall. Had heaps of trouble.
Man, those super tees. I think there would have been like less than 10 or 12 in the country. Like there wouldn't have been many kicking around. Yeah. So if you got a set, it was pretty rare.
Dude, I like saw a pair the other day that was like, it was pretty expensive, but I think one day I'll just jump on a sale just because it was like a thing I always wanted to have, you know. It was pretty cool to look at, just pretty ridiculous. Although maybe they'll look normal. Fork tubes are getting real big again.
They still look ridiculous.
They look like 29er forks or something.
We had this is a bit of a tangent, but we had a guy at a shop I worked at. He had a set on his small demo or small Banshee. And when we did the measurements, the bike was almost tall. Yeah, it was taller than it was longer because it was a small 26-inch bike. It was crazy.
They look so like photoshopped, like the image has been cropped funny or something now, like all the old bikes. Whereas I remember the first Mondraker I saw when I was in Whistler in like 2008 or something. And that thing looks so long, like a bus.
Yeah.
But I think that's just like a normal size bike these days. It probably still is short. It's pretty crazy.
Pretty small compared. It's normal now to see that style.
Yeah, those things were so massive when they first came out, and now it's just standard.
Normal.
My Bronson's probably that long.
Oh, for sure. What how old were you when you got into the racing side of things then? Were you like 17, 18 or?
I think my first one was like, must have been like 14, 15 maybe.
Yeah.
But then like it wasn't like straight into the race schedule. It was just like when I could convince my parents to take me. I was playing a lot of other sports as well. Yeah. And then I don't know, they just fell away. Like not interested in them. Riding bikes was just like, why would I do any of these other sports? I remember like playing soccer. My coach would just make me the goalkeeper just because like we had no good goalkeepers in our team, and I was just so bored because like we had a pretty decent team, so I was just doing nothing like the whole game. It's just like pretty crap. Played a bit of softball, and then just like got really scary as soon as people started pitching really hard, and just nothing compared. Nothing was anywhere near as fun.
Yeah.
So I reckon like
those individual sports have been a little bit. It seems like mountain bikers just seem to not get on with those team sports sometimes. Like it's
I don't know. It was cool. Like the vibe's cool. There is like, I mean, the social aspect still sits in like racing and all of that sort of thing. Like I think that's a massive part of. Like if I were to get back into racing now, I think that would be the main pull. Like wanting to go and see friends, and there's like so many people just got back into mountain biking, and people are going to races and stuff. It's like it'd be pretty cool to just go hang out with everyone. But I can't enjoy racing that much anymore. I used to love it when I felt good at it, but now I'm just like I don't need to pay money to know how slow I am.
What kind of turned you off of the racing? So how long were you at it, and what kind of got you out of it, I guess?
Well, I did it like when I got up to under 19s. I did a couple of national rounds. That might have been like, it was a little eye-opening going to like Illenbar. I don't know if you've ever ridden there. Like going to, it's like up in Brizzy, just lots of routes and wet and chaos. And there was a race there that I went to that Kovarik won by 30 seconds or something. Like I watched Sam Hill and everyone like tripoding through all the routes, and then Kovarik came through just like riding like Reese Wilson does at the moment or something like that. Just hovering through all the routes, and then like wall riding this bridge that like people were struggling to get up out of the routes and stuff like that. It was just insane. So that was pretty wild. The level got pretty high, and then I think coming into elite, I didn't do like amazing, but it was still super fun and I was progressing. But I just had some pretty bad like crashes and broken bones and things.
Yeah.
And I don't know what point it was, but there was like a pretty clear point where it was just like I got scared all of a sudden, and it was like it was just hesitation. Like I could feel in my riding that like there'd just be a split second where I'd like dab the brakes instead of just like letting it off, and like my times like didn't drop that much, but like it felt really different. Like I didn't feel as confident going into things, and just started overthinking stuff. So it kind of just dropped off for a little bit after that. So yeah, I think that was kind of I don't know where it all stopped.
You don't really, like that hesitation and being scared is massive. Like you don't want to be racing and having those small hesitations because that's when you get hurt more, and you're also not going to be on the top step. Like there's no point.
Yeah. No, hurt more is like a real thing. Hesitation is like a curse, I think. And like, I'm sure everyone has it to some degree, like even the very best of the best. But like for me, man, it's just a battle. Like I have days where I don't consider anything and it's just like wake up, ride bikes, have heaps of fun. And usually it's the days where like I know it's just going to be fun and that I'm well in control. And like those days are the days where I'll like find something gnarly and be able to tick it off the list or something like that because I've just got that just like fun confidence going on. But if I like build something up, then the hesitation is just like it's there all day.
Yeah.
So it's like a bit of and that's the thing that inevitably just takes you off the bike. I think like that's what makes you crash. I've never in my life crashed riding at my full ability. It's always just been like, stupid little things or like hesitation.
Yeah, those little brake checks before a big jump or just having that half a back out can cause more than just hitting something with confidence. It's insane. Yeah,
just not being loose. I think being loose and like just really free on the bike is what gets you out of trouble. Because the days where you're just like hammering down Medina or something, just like you don't give a shit about anything and just having the most fun ever. The days that like you can get away with murder. Like I've come offline at Medina before and like ridden through the bushes and then like over a berm and then like past a tree over a log, like and just back onto the track. Just keep laughing and keep riding. It's just so fun. But
I reckon that place is better if you don't touch the brakes, eh? Like if you let the momentum at that place just carry you, you're probably safer. Yeah,
I think so for sure. Like braking, I think just puts you off or like adjusts your body position on the bike or something like that. I found at Medina when I was there, if I was riding badly, I'd just go and like ride Zen Garden as fast as I could or something like that. Well, Sticks and Stones was like the ultimate warm-up track, and I felt like it forced you to be a bit more active and a bit more loose on the bike. So you'd either like, if I was riding badly, I'd either just continue riding badly, but like you scare yourself a bit so the adrenaline's up and it's fun, or you like tighten up your riding a lot because you've started riding the dangerous stuff. So but I was like pretty comfortable on those tracks. So again, maybe that just went back to the comfort thing.
Yeah, I love those tracks. They're so sketchy, but they're
some of my favorite stuff ever, I reckon. That place is so sick. I remember hearing from like Jacko and Baxter when it was first getting built, like they were like, it's so good, it's like the best place to ride ever. And I was like expecting it to be, but also just like a bit reserved because it was like, you know, the guys that are building it are telling you it's the best stuff ever. Not that I don't trust them, but I was like, just keen to like find it out for myself. And then first laps down there, I was just like, what the hell? How am I having this much fun? It was sick.
I almost reckon those, like, I don't know, I don't like the flowy fast stuff down there. Like, it scares me more, whereas Zen Garden and that type of slow, like, and that. I really froth on those tracks down there. Wish we could get more of them around Australia.
I really enjoy, like, I don't enjoy flat out speed. I really enjoy, like, working to keep the bike going. So whether it's technical and tight and you have to like maneuver a lot, or it's like a bit flatter and you really have to like pick your pumps to gain speed. And I mean, maybe that played a part into my like giving up on racing sort of thing, because the tracks got faster. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if much of that evolution was like, you know, coincided with like me getting less keen on it, but potentially there was a bit more raw speed or that sort of thing. Like Threadbow Fire Road, I used to just hate that thing, man. Like, I won't, if I go up there now, I'll just sit down, like cruise down there, do some little like manuals or something. I just like don't want to go down it fast. I've seen so many people crash on it and like had so many hairy moments myself that not worth it. I'd rather just do some skids.
Those fire road situations just scare me. Oh, they're the worst. I've never crashed on one, never had any issues, but because I just chill, I can't deal with it.
Yeah. No.
What were the
Threadbow national rounds when they send you from the top was a bit rough, I thought. out of the chairlift down the hill.
Hit that water gap thing that people do. That looks
stupid. Oh dude, yeah. Who's hit that? Surely that's not a big list. Like I know it was like Miko who hit it first, right? Like sick man. Yeah. And then
I think probably like definitely done it.
Troy hit it? Surely.
Probably. I think Brannigan did it at one of the like when they did something. It's big. It looks so dumb. Yeah.
I think I saw it like Dean or someone like hopping over one of the water bars, like try to bunny hop it. That looked like the gnarliest thing ever. I mean, imagine tagging that. You just might as well tuck it into the front flip.
Yeah.
Like, honestly. Yeah. If you're going over that quick, you might as well like try to go the whole way around.
Yeah. Oh man. You mentioned, like, speaking of crashes and stuff, but you mentioned you had a couple of injuries. Were they quite big ones, or?
Just like really big crashes.
Yeah.
And then like the injuries were always just like pretty standard breaks and stuff, but it was more so like the circumstance of the crash was just like not really being aware of like why it went wrong and that sort of thing. It was kind of just felt like where I thought I was pretty in control riding, it just kind of, you know, I'd feel like I was fine and then just explode all of a sudden and not really know like what happened particularly. But at Illenbar I had a really big one. There was like a big like rock step down, and like one of my rocks was gone, and I just like nosedived the whole thing. And like I at one point, like years on, I went to get some ribs x-rayed, and the doctor pointed out that I had like an old fracture in my spine from something. And like that, I don't know if it was that, but that's the only time my back's like hurt for weeks, like ever. So I didn't get it checked out because it just felt like bruised or something like that. But so there's no way to know. It might be a stress fracture from overworking or something like that as well. So, but like there was definitely something on the thing. So I don't know if it was that, but yeah, just some crashes. Another one was when I was in Whistler the first season when I was 18. I did that. You know, there's that like on A-Line. Have you ridden that? No. There's like, well, anyway, there's this like famous little drop on A-Line, and then you can like pre-jump into the drop. Yeah. And then it hooks a left turn, and then there's like a really big long step down. Yeah. And I like did the little pre-hop into the drop, hit the turn, and I think maybe my like tire rolled just off the rim, and then like front tire just locked up on the lip of the step down, and I just like woke up on the ground with like a dislocated finger, just like not knowing where I was, like people all around me, like pretty like, and then all of my bed sheets from my staff housing stuck to me for weeks after that. It's pretty like spicy ground over there. You get pretty cut off if you slide down any of those landing ramps.
It looks like sandpaper, like really bad sandpaper. Yeah.
It's like, just that gritty sort of stuff. There's just plenty of little marbly rocks that cut you up a bit.
And those head injuries are enough to scare you, like whenever you wake up and you don't know where you are.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, the concussions. It'll be interesting to see what happens later in life. I haven't had too many. I had one at Threadbow where I was out for a little while, and Kai was like, he like looked after me on the way home, and I think someone like overcharged me for a drink or something. So he like pranked them by like turning the drink upside down on the table with like a bit of paper on it. So when you pick it up, it would like spill everywhere. I don't know why that's like the thing I remember from that, but I don't have any other memories coming home from that event. Yeah. But yeah, like a couple of little head knocks and stuff, just enough to make me hesitant. And then like, I think a lot of people at a higher level probably get it as well. Like if you're doing really well and then you drop off a bit, like just not progressing is really disappointing.
Yeah.
I think. And potentially I like went in a direction that was more focused on doing well instead of having fun. So yeah, I mean, I was like hopeful that it would go somewhere with the racing, but I don't know how realistic it ever was, you know, like I don't think I ever had that much of a shot looking at how fast everyone is, and then like having David McMillan come up behind me and stuff. Pretty wild. There's like a sports scholarship thing for cycling in the ACT.
Yeah, okay.
And I was in that for a little while.
Yeah,
and I think when I went to Whistler for a season, Dave got my spot, I'm pretty sure. Okay. So if that's wrong, Dave, but I think that's how it went down from memory. But that was really cool. That was like they taught us some training stuff, and a lot of that's actually we had really good trainers, and that's stuck with me when I've had time to do gym stuff in my life.
Yeah, that's rad.
Pretty cool.
I didn't know that existed. Yeah, that's sick.
It's called Actas.
Yeah, okay.
ACT. Make
something.
It up.
ACT awesome scholarship.
Awesome scholarship.
Yeah, that's sick. Imagine if they had that everywhere. It'd be so good.
Yeah, well, it was pretty cool. I think that was like the what do you call it? The selection process for like the world stuff. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe, or like part of it, maybe part of MTBA or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. I did a lot of XC racing as well. Actually, I didn't mention.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like getting pushed by their so a couple of MTBA people and stuff to race a lot of cross country instead of downhill. Yeah. Okay. So I think I've never clipped in my life, but like I used to go pretty fast on the XC bike. Did a lot of like 24-hour racing and stuff.
No way.
I actually have an under 19s title in XC as well. But like that's nothing.
Yeah.
It used to be really fun. I think that was 100% driven just by like how fun it was bothering people who did XC full time when you would like show up in shorts on flat pedals and like a borrowed bike and then do really well.
Like the full Sam Hill effect when he rocks up and he just smokes everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, I think. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't put my name in the same ring as Sam in respect, that's for sure.
I think, he rocks up to those like WA XC events just in full baggies, like 40mm trail bike, flat pedals, and just smokes everyone. It's so sick. Yeah.
No, it was really fun, and like you just got to do a lot of riding with your friends. I had heaps of friends that rode XC, and it was really cool to just go pedaling with them all the time. So kept the bike fitness up. I think I could attribute my fitness to just riding the downhill bike to like downhill tracks from my house in Canberra as well. Like, just pedal all the way out there, and then like do laps all day, and then pedal all the way back. Like, I think
how far was it?
I got a bit of bike fitness. Some of the places were like 15, 20 Ks, I reckon.
Oh shit!
So just put a bit of a long pedal in on the downhill bike in like full face helmet and stuff. And
God. Yeah,
it was pretty sick.
It's a pretty rad training routine.
Yeah, well, it was never intentional to be training. It was just
it's how you got there, right?
The only way I could get out there. So I was like going to go and get out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but good.
And did you kind of turn to trail building like straight after, or like after you stopped racing, or what was your kind of progression?
Well, so professional trail building was almost an accident, but trail building has been there from the beginning, like straight up. I think when I was like 12, I used to dig some jumps up behind Mum's house. Maybe like 11. I know my dad built me a jump when I was like 9, and that was just like a little dirt wedge thing. That was pretty funny, but kind of maybe that was what made me realize that you could just like put a shovel into the ground and then like jump back, which when I think about it to this day is still the most amazing concept ever. Like you can just turn dirt into fun so easily. I mean, it's physically demanding, but like that process is rewarding in itself. And then, you can just build jumps. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You don't need to pay money or anything. Like
I've never even thought of it like that.
It's so funny. Like sometimes I'll just like when I was actually properly digging trails in Canberra, it was like some days you just sit out there and just be like, what the hell? Like this was just ground before, and now it's like now you can go like like 15 feet in the air off dirt that you made. Like sick. It's real sick. So yeah, I think when I was really young, we started digging really crappy, like typical kids jumps, that are just everywhere, which to this day is so sick to find. Like I love finding stuff. And then like some big kids would have found our jumps, like some BMX kids or something, and then like would have opened our minds to like them being bigger and that sort of thing. And then we got influenced, obviously, like coinciding with the Kona stuff. There was like all the North Shore stuff. So me and my friend Anthony Rogers used to, and like a couple of other people, Sean McLean, Tom Robbins, we used to like go and steal pallets from wherever we could, and then like hack them up with hand saws and just make like sketchy bridges. We had this spot up near my mum's old house that was just like there was like bridges in trees and all sorts of sketchy stuff. So sick. My granddad's an engineer and a physicist, and he used to just like froth it. He used to just be like, "This is so sick that you guys are making these structures." So that was funny as. So it's always been there, and the spots have always changed. And then I think as like my riding evolved, like the building got a bit more serious, and then they've just like grown together over the years.
So you've been like with dirt up for the whole time for your professional career then?
Yeah. So after racing stopped, I kind of was like, I was building some dirt jumps in Canberra, which is like a pretty serious spot now. But me and my friend Matt Lutton and a couple of other people had been digging out there for like 2 years. Had this like pretty legit spot in a location that was obviously like secret enough because they still haven't been knocked down. They're actually pretty insane now. Some BMX dudes have like
it's sick.
Just made it their own, and like damn, the work that they've done out there is like world class. It's sick. But yeah, so I was like came off racing. I was building jumps, and then like a couple of my injuries, like I had I think I tore my like ACL just slightly, but it wasn't all the way. So it was like not a surgery thing. It was just like, the doctor who just doesn't give a shit is just like, don't ride for a while. Yeah, like that's all I do.
Yeah, it's not
like
gonna
I
help.
was still digging with that, and then I had a couple of like wrist breaks here and there.
Yeah,
and just like started just feeling like wrecked. Like they all just caught up with me because obviously none of the rehab was ever been done. And like, because you don't take it seriously when they give you like an A4 piece of paper with some like pictures of someone doing some exercises on them.
Yeah.
You're just like, I don't need to do this. I can ride a bike already.
Yeah.
They don't explain the weight of like, or like the physios that I went to didn't explain how important it is to rehab like at least back to where you were, probably better. Otherwise, you'll just do the same injury again and again.
Yeah.
So I never took that seriously, and everything kind of all piled up. I like my friend who I was digging those dirt jumps with. That was like all I was riding at the time. He went overseas, and then just like running that spot became like way out of hand. Like so many kids would ride, and I was just doing maintenance, and like riding almost like fell away for a little while. I was like full time maintaining a jump spot, but like hadn't ridden a lap there for a long time, and then like just got tired of it, and like didn't go for a couple of weeks, and then like it became a couple of months, and the bikes just stayed in my garage for a while, but just like riding kind of fell away, and I just like I was like 18 at the time, so I just like went into actually no, this was a little after that, but I just went into to like just party for 2 years. Just like it kind of synced up with everyone being in that same sort of state of mind for a while. Like I always like looked at Jai when I was working with Jai, being like, man, like I would have got along with you so well like 2-3 years ago. Like this was my main focus. Like you and me would have like raised hell. But like I think maybe like I was a little not hard on Jai, but like I was a little like apprehensive to like get sucked into partying again, because I'd like just got through that and then was like back into the trail building world. But anyway, long story short, partied for like 2 years. And then got like just something was missing. So I was just like, oh, it's bikes. Like open up my shed, got 2 bikes in there, like ready to go. A hardtail, like my old downhill bike, which was pretty sick. An old Turner DHR.
Oh, sick.
And then just moved to Threadbow. Like didn't have a job. Quit my Canberra job. Just was like, nah, bored. Sick of partying. Sick of all of it, really. Just like everything was a bit monotonous. So just moved to Threadbow with the aim of just riding bikes. And like I forgot how to ride them completely. But there was this point where I like jumped on my hardtail and went for a ride, and I like sucked. But it was kind of like funny that I sucked, and like it was fun again. Just like flick of a switch. It was just like, this is heaps fun. Like I just enjoyed it again. I didn't expect myself to do anything in particular. It was just like psyched on being back on a bike. But at Threadbow, oh, sorry, go on.
Do you think like you're ever chasing like that adrenaline and stuff from riding by partying more, or is it?
Probably, yeah. Like maybe just a little bit lost, or it might have just been that sort of time. There was I got really into like drum and bass and like dubstep and stuff. And there was this like dingy, crappy club in Canberra that was like opened up by a bunch of DJs, and like made friends with all those people, and all my friends are into the same sort of music. So just like that, we had some enormous acts come through there. Like all the like Chinese laundry gigs would also like do a gig there. So it's just like little dirty like chalkboard paint wall like room where like the bathrooms were missing doors on them, and like that sort of stuff. And, like massive acts, and like the dance floor would like actually bounce, like physically bounce.
That's so good.
Crazy. So yeah, it might have been like a mixture of things, but for sure there was just like a gap where all of my time previously went to digging, and all of that time was like free to go to something else. So that's probably where I funneled my interests, or like adrenaline or whatever. But it was good. Like had a fun time. I reckon I probably got it out of my system. Like not partying, but just like I don't know, like needing to go all night and that sort of stuff. Like you know, like I it's nothing that's like beneficial for you really in the long run, but like it was cool to just get it over and done with. Just have a solid block of time to have fun in.
Get it done.
Yeah. And then like, met heaps of sick people and did heaps of cool stuff. So it's pretty funny.
It is a good time of life when you're in that kind of party zone, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Like super fun. And yeah, I don't know. I just like, yeah, had heaps of friends that were into the same thing. It was just like, yeah, super good social time. So, but man, I'm like so thankful that I just had that calling back to riding bikes. Some of the people that I was like partying with are just like standard people these days, and then some of them are like moved into a different realm of life that's like potentially not quite as healthy. So
Yep. Yeah. But then you're still shredding bikes and having fun that way.
We're definitely having fun.
Yeah.
Trying to, well, not trying to shred, trying to have fun. Having fun is the goal, and like 100%. And like, yeah, I know like the days where I don't feel like doing something, like I don't have any pressure on myself to do things anymore, apart from like wanting to do it. So that's like the only factor. Like people can, like give me shit for not sending a jump on a certain day, but it just bounces off me. It's like, oh, I can do this. I know I can, but I don't want to today. Like maybe I'll do it another day, sort of thing. And then other days I'm like, what else can I hit? Like, let's go. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
So when you're at Threadbow and relearning how to ride your bike,
badly, like not doing a good job at it, that's for sure.
Is that when you started getting like? Is that when you started the trail building kind of thing, or how'd that kind of progress?
Do you know Ryan Dawson?
I know the name. I don't know him.
He's a dude who lives in. Well, you went all robotic for 1 second there.
Yeah.
It was like the remix of you. Way back, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll just persist anyway. Ryan Dawson, who's like local legend, used to be a weapon BMXer, but now is just weapon at being a dad of two, and like still sends it so hard. He's like missing ribs over his heart from doing like a flagpole stand on a flagpole at like full height and like falling off and getting hooked by the
God.
hook that the rope ties to, and like anyway, he just sends so hard. Got a chest plate on. I met him through a mutual friend at Threadbow who I was living with, and like tried to go riding with him a bunch of times, and like he's a real nice, encouraging dude. So like he was probably just like little said that this dude can ride a bike, and now he's just like not very good at riding bikes. But at the same time, he was just like cheering me on and stuff. And then we dug some dirt jumps in Jindabyne together.
Yep.
It's like crappy little spot. And he like kind of realized that I was into building. And then he knew Jai. So he like talked to Jai, and then Jai talked to, I guess, like Frenchie or Jono, who was managing Threadbow at the time.
Yeah.
And then I got the job. And it was like, this is a thing? Like I could be paid to build trails? What the hell? It was like, for me, it was just absolutely mind blowing. I was like so excited about hearing back from them. And then got offered the job, and I like misread on my contract like what the pay was. And then like I thought it was $10 an hour less than what it was, but I was like so hyped about it. Like just getting paid. Sorry, like Frenchie, you probably could have got me a lot cheaper if you ever listened to this. But like I'm not gonna go backwards now, sorry mate. But yeah, man, like I would have done it for nothing almost. If they gave me a house, I would have done it. But then I got my first paycheck, and it was like way more than what I thought it was going to be. Like, just frothing. It was just like blown away. And I hit it like as hard as I could, and I feel like I've tried to ever since. Just like went in swinging, like the only job I've ever started where it felt like I knew what I was doing right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Obviously, heaps of like adjustments to make in terms of sustainability is like the main thing that you learn about when you get into professional trail building.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, there's not as much weight on sustainable trails if it's something that you build next to your house that you're going to be at all the time.
Yeah.
But like looking back, I would have loved to know that that was like something that you could do to protect the environment and like, you know, make your trails last a little bit longer. Obviously, some things happen over time because you like monitor your trails that you build, and then like when you dig dirt jumps, it's devastating if you like forget to drain something, and then like it's just a big mud pit that will never ever drain. So like you learn all that stuff, but there was a lot of like tweaks and stuff on that, but like shapes and things that was just all in my head. So it was like the sickest job ever to start, and like I still can't believe it's a thing. It's there.
And you've been on. You mentioned like before we started, but you've been on a few jobs like in Northern Territory, Medina, and then Bear Creek, and a few others.
Yep, like Hardboard, Narang, the like Commonwealth Games track, Hamilton Islands. We did a trail in China, which is pretty wild, and then like stacks. A bike park in Footscray in Melbourne, which was
That's sick.
Yeah, just a little one, but did some places, that's for sure.
Where's the favourite place you've got to dig?
Well, there's so many elements to it that it's like judged on a lot of different things. So there's been some places where I've been that have like when we were in Narang, we had all those like I don't know if it's tropical, but all the like northern national parks to go and explore. So just mind-blowing waterfalls, and like Remy Morton took me to a bunch of like secret spots up there and did some like good-sized waterfall jumps with him. And so like there's a nature thing where it's just like, I mean, every now and then I just have to go and get lost out somewhere. And like I think Narang was really good for the, like waterfalls and things. Everywhere in Australia is pretty good for some sort of nature escape. Hamilton Island was really cool. The resort half of Hamilton Island is a bit gross. Like it's just a bit plastic, a little bit fake. Like I think the beach in the front of the resort is artificial and just feels a bit funny. But then the back half of the island that we were building the trail around, that like the people who live there don't know it exists. But there was like herds of sea turtles and like all this amazing wildlife, like dolphins, beautiful like islands out the back. It was just like paradise out there. Saw some of the best sunsets I've ever seen. Like that place was pretty fantastic. Riding was Medina, like hands down. Even though I just did a winter there, so we had a lot of rain. I needed like 7 pairs of shoes there, I reckon, per day.
It's brutal.
Man, I was like, plastic bagging my feet every day, and just got sick of putting on wet riding clothes, but it just became reality. But like, it's not always like that, and like when it's not, it's just like hands down the sickest riding ever. So that was like big on the riding aspect, and then like work, I enjoyed being challenged and like obviously making cool shapes and stuff. So my least favorite and favorite job has been Bear Creek, I think, just because like for favorite, it's like I can't believe I got to like work on something like that was so massive, and then like to pull it off and finish that project was like monstrous, and I'm super proud of it. But it was also easily my least favorite project. Just like building there was just like, it was chaos, absolute chaos. It was a mission.
How so?
Dude, from start to finish, it was just monstrous. Like the client was super psyched on. I think I'm a firm believer in like with new clients, like get in the good books and stay in the good books, because I think first impressions really are everything, and our clients often don't understand what we're doing half the time. So like it'll be like a council or something like that who's familiar with mountain biking, but they don't know the build process or anything like that. So my like strategy is if I get there and just go all in right from the start and like be as dialed as I can with my like workflow and all of that sort of stuff and make sure there's no little slip ups and that sort of stuff straight off the bat, then the client relaxes and then there's just a trust like thing going on the whole time. They know that at every step of the way we'll make the best decision to like make the bike like the project as good as possible. So I'm like pretty massive on doing that. And obviously Bear Creek, we were just hyped up, ready to go. Like, dude, we got to build big jumps. It's like,
I know.
That's the thing. Like that's what everyone thinks trail building is all the time, even though all of the like there's no big jumps in Australia really, like not that many, but people seem to come into trail building, like a lot of new people come in and think that that's all we're doing, but it's like, where are all these jumps that we're building full time all the time, But anyway, we went in like all guns blazing, and the client was super stoked on that straight up, and they wanted to go all in as well. So they saw that the partnership had potential to be sick, like we could actually do this thing properly. So at every point where the bike park got to a point where it was like we could, go down this avenue from here and finish things up and sort of get it done early, or we could like add a bit more budget, like get a bunch more rocks or something, like get some massive boulders and then like build everything up way bigger and then like, go a harder route but have a better end result. And they like pretty much took the harder, bigger route every time. Like the pump track wasn't in the original scope of works, and there's heaps of things that just got added along the way. And on top of all of that, excuse me, there was just heaps of other projects going on, like the road through the middle of the park. They upgraded a couple of times. They had to replace one of the power lines running over the top. So we just had this like up in the air flexible date that these guys were going to come in and supposedly like change the power lines with helicopter stuff. They like originally thought they might have to change the towers as well. And like the first meeting we had with those guys, they came in and they were like, oh, none of this is any good. Like we're going to have to bulldoze this and bulldoze this, like pointing at all these like, finished things. And like at one point they like sent in like excavator operators in like 30-ton excavators to come and do some works. And then like I caught one dude like about to just like drive in over I don't know if you're familiar, but up the top there's like this section called the trio, and it's like it's like short for like the trio of dips. You've got like mild dip, medium dip, and spicy. And like we had that finished and that was running for ages. And I just like somehow out of the corner of my eye, like got on the radio and caught this excavator operator just about to like plow in over them on the 30-ton excavator. And I was just like, where are you going? And like, yeah, dude, it was chaos. At one point I was running like 3 massive projects, like fencing, the power lines, the roadworks, so maybe 4, and then the bike park as well as like bike park. So it was huge. It sucked the whole way through it, but like the reward is like massive. So
the hype around the place was like huge. Like I couldn't believe that there were jumps that big getting built in a council-owned piece of land in Australia.
I know. Well, the opportunity lay in that it was being given to council once it was finished, and the waste management like corporation was funding it. And they were going to hand it over like for maintenance and stuff to council. So council came in to approve things along the way, but they weren't there for the majority of the construction. And like I think they were pretty lost when they showed up. Like they didn't know what jumps were, or like maybe they knew what jumps were but didn't realize that like you're meant to jump from like here to there, and like just kind of we're a little bit lost, and like sometimes they'd only come in and just look in from the top and lead. So we kind of like snuck it in under the radar. But
cool.
Like hats off to like Will from Wamsey and like Frenchie and Jason for just like, you know, wanting to go big, and Trail Care as well. Like everyone the whole way maintained like this is an opportunity to build something really big and really progressive. So let's just like go hard at it.
Yeah.
So
that's
cool.
So sick to see, like fully done and built up. It's like Australia's own boneyard, really. Like it's not as big, but it is pretty like that similar freestyle-y jump park.
Yeah, it was like the lay of the land was a little hard to work with. There was a couple of like, it had a lot of like really mellow dips. So like, it would go down for a bit and then flatten out, and then it would be like a long and gradual uphill, which obviously like means you can have like 2 jumps down and then you just like drag out uphill. So like shifting how the land was to make it actually work was a massive challenge. And like in hindsight, I don't think there's much that we could have done any different. Like the pro line stuff down the bottom, man, if anyone reckons they could have it, they could build bigger jumps down there. Like I'd love to see it. Like, but not as a challenge, but like, dude, me and Darcy Coots was like managing that zone for me, and like me and him just spent so many afternoons down there just like talking about how to stretch it out, and like we were told we could build as big a jumps as we possibly could. So like, obviously they were going to be as big as they could, but man, we built like massive rock walls on the side of cliffs to like retain big landings and all that sort of stuff. So like that was such a mission trying to get that stuff in there, and it was crazy.
They look big. Like I think I saw Matt Holmes put up a video of him hitting him the other day, and he was stretching to make it. Like, and he's a good rider. Like,
there's some big stuff down there. It is like it's a little flat. It kind of like it was just another big dish. Like after there's that massive like over 90-degree hip, which is a jump called the Assassin. You like step down the hill, and then it like cruises into a massive step up at the end. And the point of that was to get as high up the hill as you could. So when you came back down into another really flat grade, you could like get as much fall as possible. And we had like 30-ton like Moxie mining dump trucks dumping dirt up that end of the bike park for like weeks. So much work, and like they'd just dump out like a long line, and then you'd have to like pull it all up in the excavator. And dude, it was insane. Trying to work out where the like original ground level out there is pretty funny. It's kind of like you'd be standing on the landing of a jump and you'd be like, I think it's all the way like over there. I left a couple of like little trees and stakes and stuff in as reference points just so I knew where it all was. And
that's so good.
From when we started to when we finished, it's different shapes hill for sure.
It seems like that place, I haven't been there yet. I'm hoping to get there in a month, but it seems like there's a lot of avenues for progress.
Yeah, I think that was the massive the focus of the place. Like I think there's no point building all the big stuff if you can't get there, you know? You need to basically start rolling over mounds and then like picking your wheels up on tabletops and then like slowly progressing. So the theme was progression, and I think the strategy, Simon and Jason, their ideas off the start was to like build the bigger stuff and build backwards so you could build all the steps in between. It's kind of like, I mean, you could have done it either way, I suppose, but it was kind of just like, I think there's like 4 steps of progression through the bike park. So like blue, black, double black, pro line. And then at every step, we wanted it to be like even intervals. And like, so if you get to the bottom of a blue line, maybe the last jump is like nearly black jump sized, and then you get to the top of the hill again, and then the first jump on the black line is approachable.
Yeah.
And then we also made a point of like starting with tabletops and then like slowly separating the jumps in a safe manner as well. So like we had tabletops, and then you'd have tabletops with like the landing picked up, so like slight step ups, and then you kind of like make sort of just like very gentle humps or like lip and landing separation, and then go to full gaps. Because I think it's pretty important if you get into pro line stuff, like even if it's tabletops, you don't want to land halfway like on anything. You don't want to roll off the next jump if you've landed halfway on the one before.
Yeah.
And like there's something in making people get to a point where they can like predict exactly how far they have to go and be within the price range. And that's like why you put a big case pad on a jump. But like, to be honest, the tabletop at that size is just pointless. Like it's a big waste of dirt, really. Like if your first attempt at a pro line jump is like land halfway or land just past the lip, like probably just go back to the start and start working your way up through the progression. I think that being said, though, in hindsight, the pro line stuff maybe didn't need to be like as hard. I think it was I think the thing is like all the jumps, if you have the speed, are easy, and like there's reset points where you have to start again and pedal a little bit at the next one. But any jumps in succession, it's just like regulated, so no braking, no pedaling, nothing like that. So if you hit a jump and there's another jump, you'll make that jump as long as you make the first jump clean, as long as you haven't like squashed the first one and like are going too fast or whatever. So it's all fairly self-explanatory based off like how confident you are to trust that, I suppose. But like a couple of the locals in Sydney have sort of mentioned that it would be cool to have a top to bottom, like maybe black line or something. The thing is there was only one option of a top to bottom line. And I'm not one to make jumps smaller. So it was like the blue line I felt it would have been sick to get a really long blue line, but there wasn't going to be a really long blue line and a really long black line. It was just one line could go top to bottom. And if the blue line like went up top to bottom, then everything would have been smaller because of the way that it's all stacked together. So like, a lot of like landings are like 3 landings wide instead of like, the black, double black and pro line stuff is like they all share the same big mound of dirt for all of their landings sort of thing. But if it was all just blue size, then it's kind of like the spacing for drainage and that sort of stuff, kind of hard to explain, but it didn't work out that they could be more than one. So that would kind of limit the entire place, I suppose. And then like I wanted the line to progress as you went down, so bigger and bigger and bigger, and building the bottom jumps like small and approachable, I think kind of like limits you back up the line again. Because how the hill falls sort of thing. So I think like for sure it would be cool to see more people get through that line, but I feel like it's just at the moment most likely just like a mental block in Australia sort of thing. Like I don't believe that those jumps are that hard. It's just there's not that much stuff like that you can practice, I think.
Well, I have a theory. I haven't hit that many big jumps. It's been a long time since I've hit big jumps, but bigger jumps are easier than little jumps. Like here in Adelaide, we have this weird kind of belief. I don't know what it is, but I don't know many jumps on trails here that are more than maybe a wheel, like tall. Like for some reason, we just don't have lips.
Yeah, height is a huge thing, man. Like little kicky lips is the most dangerous thing in the whole world.
It scares the shit out of me because I come from like a dirt jumping, very average skilled dirt jumping background, like where it's slow. It's fast, you hit a lip, you float through the air, you pick up speed again, but then you float through the air. You got heaps of time to think on a lip, heaps of time to think in the air. And then on these fast, flat out tracks, we have a 2 foot high kicker to nothing, and you just get fucked.
Yeah, all you can do is brace for those little jumps. There's no flow in the transition. It's just like slap into the lip sort of thing.
Whereas those big transitions, like you've got, feels like minutes to think, like you're going up that, and you've got time to prepare. Like I almost think it's easier and safer.
I mean, I totally agree, and it's a contextual thing. Like a lot of the blue jumps, I think at Bear Creek are still like 6-7 foot tall. Like still pretty big jumps. But if you put them like at the bottom of the hill at Threadbow, you'd be like, oh, that's a decent sized jump. But if you put them in Bear Creek on the blue line, they're like pretty approachable and not particularly like difficult in any way. You kind of just like, oh, there's a few in a row, I'll hit this one and I can do the next one sort of thing. Like flows pretty easily. So for sure bigger jumps are easier. And then like, man, some of the black jumps and like that sort of stuff, they're like 12 foot plus lips, and like you just got all day to think about it when you're riding up them. There's no like over the top compression. You're not like squashed onto your bike. You don't like come off the top before you balance yourself. You all just kind of like, they just scoop you up gently. It's like, I think there's accidents because there's always going to be when people ride above their level, but if anyone thought that place was not going to have any crashes, they're probably local council.
Well, it's like if you think about it, a bike they're now hitting like 1.2 meters tall, which is like I'm 1.8, so you're looking at least 4 foot, so that your back wheel and front wheel could be on the lip at the same time. Anything short of that, you start to get bucked. Like it just feels weird.
Yeah, if your front wheel leaves the lip while your back wheel is still compressing or like compressed, that's bad. It's a bad time. But big jumps and safe
bad
jumps.
Jumping skills. Real bad jumping skills.
Yeah, well, you just like you lock up, right? You stiffen up. It goes back to that hesitation stuff. Like if you're not I guess if you're hesitating on big jumps, that's when they're dangerous. Not because big jumps are dangerous, but then like if you learn to just brace on every single jump that you hit, because all you hit is little jumps, then you're not ever going to learn to like be playful with, like longer lips that you can be a bit more active on. Yeah. So you like, have issues once you move up, I think. So.
And as like a trail builder, this is one thing I've kind of noticed in Australia as well, but green trails and blue trails are super popular because they bring people into the sport. Mm-hmm. And then we seem to get stuck with blue trails. Like there is, and what is a blue trail to some people is mind blowing how they consider it a blue trail. But
they're like a black tech jumps trail sort of thing.
Or they're the complete opposite. They're like blue.
Super safe.
It's a footpath. Yeah. And it's considered blue. But do you think there's some progression lacking in trails, like for downhill and for everything in Australia? Like it seems to go blue, double lack. Like there's no.
Yeah, no, for sure. It really does. And that's, I think, because the people who have got a little taste of like Whistler or, have somehow progressed because they've built their own jumps. They're not going to, if you're building your own like illegal jumps or something like that, you're going to go to the absolute maximum of your ability. And like people that tend to build jumps, like when they get a chance to, are more likely to build, like harder, difficult things that challenge them. Like I can certainly speak for myself in saying that I'm not going to spend like weekends on a tabletop. Like if I'm going to build a jump, it's going to be like wherever I can find the biggest one that I can build with the like minimal amount of effort. And that's and like minimal effort, like instant gratification sort of stuff is where you get like the sketchiness from as well, like short lips and like really long gaps and like really harsh landings without case pads and that sort of stuff. But I think that's why that's there to some extent, but it's also because the people funding the like big trail projects, I think, want to be comfortable with what they've got in terms of like liability. So
Yeah.
maybe it's just like, national parks will pay for a trail network, or like, there'll be a council client or something, which is, I find it pretty mind-blowing, because skate parks, like, look at and this might be because like companies like Convic have been really active in like pushing these skate parks, but like, look at the skate parks that like Convic and stuff are building around Australia right now. You've got like little 4-foot, 3-foot like street section, and then like mega bowl, like Batto Bowl, and like Central Coast is like 14 foot or something. Like, feels like you get swallowed alive when you ride that thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I think it's over 12. I think it's like 13 or 14 foot, but that thing's terrifying. And like, they build them, but they don't build like, big jumps at jump networks, like mountain bike trail networks. They're just like, draw the line somewhere. So I don't know. I think it's certainly feeling like, as a consumer more than a trail. Oh no, on both sides. Like, there's most of what we build is like green and blue trails for sure. And like, when they're blue trails, they're like blue trails carved through like a steep side slope, so you can't even build like anything particularly technical or challenging. It's kind of like benching trail into a steep like hill is just like, you turn the hill into a flat ground, like bench it out, and then it's kind of like, like the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games where like you used to design a skate park. Someone made this analogy the other day. You used to just like select a ramp and then like move it around on the floor and like place it wherever. It's kind of like that. You can only just like select a couple of features. Like, if you have a rock, you can like put rock on trail. Like, if you want to build a jump, you can like put a jump on the bench, but it's still just like a bench. It's very like two-dimensional almost, which is like weird lineal stuff. You can't go with the lay of the land as much because the hill is insanely steep. So I think it's like, trail design partially, so you have to be pretty clever with that to be able to actually get something through. And then like, I just think the focus definitely, the people paying for the jobs maybe just need to like hire some more consultancy or something. I think that happens. Like, we get hired at Dirt Art to like design trail networks and stuff, and those are the trail networks that you could see that are going to make a bit more sense to the land. So big tangent there, but
no,
like,
it makes sense. Yeah,
dude, for sure there's a gap. I think it's partially like who's paying for it. A majority thing, obviously. I think, going back to Bear Creek, that's the other reason that we actually built a pro line. It's because like, you could never build a blue jump park there and then later on have the community go, let's build a pro line, and then have enough people to like get the ball rolling to build a pro line. Whereas if you kind of go all out and build a pro line straight up, everyone in the community is going to be like, those jumps are way too big. Let's build a blue line. So you get the blue line on top of the pro line. So it was kind of like almost an order thing, because they were talking about doing stage 2 of that place, which is like, as far as I know, still something that will probably happen. And well, like, fingers crossed anyway. But that was something that was discussed the whole time, because Bear Creek had to be like cut down a lot to get it across the line initially. So although the scale of that project was massive, that was like a small fraction of what they have the land for out there. So like, there's a lot more to come if they go that way. So if it keeps being used responsibly and if maintenance stays up, then hopefully it just keeps growing. But I think for sure there's a separation between Blue Trail and like ultra skids, double black, pro line jumps. But that's just because like, who's building them?
No one.
Like, It's a bit of a shame. I've thought about like, if I ever get the chance to like build my own stuff somewhere, or like build another line, like maybe just toning it back. I know like a lot of dirt jump spots, they'll have like ultra skids jumps, because all that like you literally like working your fingers to the bone building dirt jumps, like
it's not.
And and then like you don't want to put all that effort into building something for a bunch of kids to ride.
Yeah.
But then it kind of turns around to like people get these spots that are so gnarly that there's no warm up. So like the locals can ride them, but they'll have their friends come and ride, and they're just like, nah,
Yeah.
I don't want to do the first jump, like, let alone the last jump. So like warm up spots and like easier stuff, it massively serves a purpose, and there's a huge gap that needs to be bridged in terms of jumps. But that's the main thing.
Can you imagine just rocking up to like Jimmy Pratt's house or Jimmy Pratt's spot in England for the first time and trying to drop in there?
Doesn't he have like a massive flow track or something that you could run laps of it and then drop into the line almost? So like again, like you're getting used to it. Those spots like the massive OG dirt jump spots still put in the easy stuff because the progression is important. You want people to do the thing that you do and like keep that alive. Like you got to get them there, sort of thing. So yeah,
sick. Throughout like that whole time that you've been building and traveling around and stuff, have you been taking photos like that whole time as well, or how long has that been like a part of your life? Because I noticed you like to take a good photo or two.
Yeah, I've definitely got into it. Thanks for that. Like, dude, when I started this job, like we started in Threadbow, and that was like really beautiful up the top of the hill in the morning. So when everyone like snaps a little iPhone clip and that sort of thing. But I've always like been super psyched on how many like cool bugs and like reptiles and stuff you like wake up while you're building trail and that sort of stuff. So yeah, all the like flora and fauna just all around Australia is insane and so pretty. So like I started taking photos on my phone, and then that became like a bit of an obsession, and then I sort of reached the limitations of my phone. So just picked up a camera at some point, and then it's just like it's been really cool because although like I bought a cool camera, I bought the original 5D first off, and that was had enough features that I could learn what I was doing, but it was also like not overly complex, so I wasn't lost in anything. And the progression of photography has been really fun in that every time I've like it's just been the learning has been just based off like getting to a point where I wanted to take a certain type of photo and then being like, how do I do this? And then just look up that specific thing. And then my camera was capable of it. And then I'd just like, learn all I can down that avenue. And then I'd never tried to go any way with it. It was just step by step learning. And that was really cool. I thought like, just like, it kind of like towed me into it, which was pretty sick.
Yeah, sick.
But yeah, I love it. I spent so much money, like almost more money on my camera stuff than my bike stuff. And
it's
like,
so bad, hey? Like, they're both so expensive. Like, it's the two worst hobbies. Yeah.
I bought the 5D Mark IV, and I was like frothing on, like, I was so nervous about buying it because I was like, oh, dude, am I going to waste my money? And like, in hindsight, I actually really like buying the best thing that I can and just being confident that it's like awesome. But I am a little bit of that like all the gear, no idea sort of guy. But like I was frothing that purchase, and then I like told RF at Threadbow one time, I was just like, check this out, man. I got the new, because I knew that he shot Canon. I was like, I got the 5D Mark IV. And he's like, why'd you waste your money on that piece of shit? It's just like, he just like cut me down straight up. And I think because he's like a sports photographer and he gets his bodies dusty all the time, like didn't want to go like full bells and whistles, ultra high price for something that like he puts a lot of wear through. I don't know what he shoots on now. That was like a couple of years ago, but he full cut me down straight up.
He's just a salty man.
I just knows what he's talking about, I reckon. And I was just like, all gear, no idea. Who had to like be taken down a notch maybe. But like, apart from that instant regret when I talked to RF, thanks for that, RF. I've never regretted that. And like, man, I just like, you got to fill in all the gaps on your lenses, like on the lens range every now and then. and I think about it for a long time, and then like just pull the trigger when I walk past a camera shop. It's like,
yeah,
that's so sick, man. Lenses are really beautiful things, I reckon. Like, they're just such a cool item. They hold their value, and then like you just can like, I mean, you see the world a different way all of a sudden. It's sick.
Yeah.
Like I bought a fisheye, and that's like, I mean, obviously for sports stuff, that's just like the ultimate. That and the 70-200, which is like the most overused one possible.
That's what like everyone shoots on. Hey.
Yeah.
So.
I bought the 70-200 and the original 5D Mark 4. Mark 1, I should say. And then like a bunch of extra flashes and gear, and the 16-35 mil lens off my friend Reiki for $2,000.
Yeah,
and like,
sick.
I think the lens is worth $2,000, and I didn't know, because I had no idea what I was looking at.
Yeah,
I was like, oh yeah, $2,000. Like, sounds like a lot of money, but like, I guess I'll for that. And then like a year on, I like realized that I could probably still sell my lens for that much. Like just one of the lenses that came in that kit. I like called him up and I was like, dude, do you want some more money for this? Like, he gave me a really good deal. Like, I got a camera bag and everything, but he was just fine that I was using it. So I think I'll do the same if I pass on any of my cameras and get a new one. Just make sure someone's using it.
Yeah, it's those lenses. They are expensive, but they hold their value for forever.
Yeah, as long as you don't drop them too much. And like, I've had some close calls, but nothing too bad yet, thankfully.
I think was it a mate of mine, Fletcher Media? He pulled out his like 300 mil the other day. He calls it he calls it the Russian telescope. Like,
yeah, those things are obnoxious.
He just gets arm pumped throughout the day just from holding this lens and swinging it around.
Yeah, that's my gym program as well, the 70-200, I reckon. Just trying to like switch hands when you're shooting so you can like get the workout on both sides. No, I've been toying with the idea of getting one of those like 300 mil, like 600 or something. Just like what do you do with them? It's like a cannon. You just,
I don't know.
They don't fit in a camera bag. Like, you can't carry them around. It's not like you go for a hike and you just have it on hand at the right time.
No.
It's not that practical. I think you'd need to go out with the intention of shooting with it, and that's just like, I don't know. My camera kit's not like impractical enough already.
Yeah, I can't imagine like. I don't even know what a 600 would weigh. It'd have to be like 4 kilo. Like when you think about it, like
kilos. I think that's the weight, isn't it?
Yeah.
What that number is. Yeah, 300 is 300 kilos. 70-200.
Gonna
scale.
Deadlift it every time you want to get up. Have you been shooting bikes and stuff as well? Or is it mainly like the flora and fauna and the nature stuff? Like what? I
really didn't want to get into like bikes and cameras together because they were like separate interests, and I started off just with the nature stuff and like landscapes and that sort of thing, and like it was always in the back of my mind like nagging me to like get into mountain bike photography, but I hate riding with a bag, and like I really love riding bikes, so I just like didn't want cameras to get in the way of that sort of stuff. So like, although it always felt like it was something that I really wanted to get into, I was always like resisting it, but I've slipped into it. It's too hard not to. Like when you work and live with like epic riders all the time, like I mean like Baxter and Jai and like Booker and everyone, like, and even just like there's so many underrated riders that I've like worked and lived with who just love having fun on their bike. But when you're with those people all the time, you're gonna pick up a camera and take a photo of them.
Gonna do it,
and it's like pretty easy to get something pretty cool. And then like a lot of the team that I work with are just like keen to get out and have fun. That's like what draws them to the job, I guess. So it's pretty easy to just like suggest, like going and riding down like a cut on the side of a road or something, like and like going and getting some shots. I've fallen more into like one-off build and shoot sort of things. So I hate going riding with my camera bag, so I'll never do that. I don't know if I'm tired, which is rare, or like if I'm injured or something like that, then I'll go full shooting mode.
Yeah.
But then like on like at a jump spot, like Bear Creek was pretty easy because you could just have both. Like, you'd be sitting at the top with your camera bag, so you might as well just pull it out, shoot a photo, put it back, go for a lap. But I've found like finding something gnarly to go and ride, like just a feature, and then going out and just kind of like making a thing of it. Like you all sort of take it in turns riding it, and then I'll just like turn the camera on once I've ridden it enough, or like,
it's like a BMX spot, really.
Yeah, like once Jack Nicholas has like pioneered the feature for me, or like creep up once I've shot a few shots and like have a go at it myself.
Yeah.
Just like push one. I'll like find something. I have a stupid idea to go and ride something really hard.
Yeah.
Get there, turn the camera on instead of pick up the bike. Someone else will do it, and then like once it's safe, just go and ride it. So, just pushing people into things, but just subtly. I don't want anyone to get hurt on my like push, but pretty funny, and everyone's up for it. So it's skate parks and that sort of thing are really easy to shoot as well.
Oh yeah, like you can just go and do a lap and then pick up your camera. It's So that's the dream. BMX is the dream to shoot because you can just casual and like dirt jumps really picturesque and beautiful, and then like skate parks. I don't know. I'm not so much into like cityscapes and that sort of stuff, but like skate parks are a little hard to find something. They're hard to make unique. You can shoot the same thing so easily, but to make them unique is so hard. Yeah.
Street is hell sick though. Like street's I'd love to like link up with some BMX dudes and go and shoot some street. I had a bit of an opportunity to do that with Johnny McKellar and like Tim Weeks and Cody when we were up in Sydney.
Sick.
Sending some like gnarly rail gaps and shit. It was fun.
Like modern day like street skate photography as well is like proper artistic. Like it's so good when you're nailing stuff like that. Yeah, I would never claim to have nailed it. I don't even call myself a photographer, but it's like another thing that I do 100% just when it's fun because it's fun. But like, dude, someone's got to point a camera at some of these people when they're doing these things, you know? Yeah.
And like some of them is just and some people just do it anyway. Like BMX culture has so many people who just do the heaviest stuff and like don't care about it being seen. They'll just do it. And I know some mountain bikers like that too, but it's like I have so much respect for the like quiet, not underdog, but just the subtle like absolute sender. Like the person who like doesn't talk shit, doesn't like talk themselves up, and then just will do the gnarliest stuff when it comes down to it.
Oh yeah, or they just pull this random thing, like they'll ride chill, and then all of a sudden they'll just pick up the pace and pull some random thing out, and you're just like, I always forget how good you are. Like, a few people like that, and you're just like, damn it, you're good.
There's people like Johnny McKellar's one, Dorso that I was talking about before. From Threadbow. He's like one. There's a couple of people who are just I've never seen how good they actually are at riding because I've never found a limit. Like I've never seen them hit a limit. Same as Hugh Andrew, who I worked with in Medina. He works for I'm not sure what he's doing at the minute. But like, dude, those guys will like land a trick and then do like 7 other tricks you've never seen them do. And then you'll never see them do it again. And then the like trick bag is just endless.
Yeah.
Like they'll be like, I haven't done one of them for a while. And you're like, when did you do it before?
When the wheel was invented.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And so all these trips have to be done in one of the most gnarly, crazy-looking cars that I've ever had to, I've ever laid eyes on.
Yeah.
Where did that? First, what's its name, and where did that idea come from?
So the car is like for those that haven't seen it, I don't know if anyone who is listening to a me podcast hasn't seen it, but it's like a old '88 Corolla wagon. And it's like, it's got some pretty wild like graffiti all over it. It's just like kind of like a design, I suppose, like a design that kind of suits the body as opposed to just being like graphed up. But yeah, it's been painted for like 7 years now, I reckon, and it's like it's faded heaps, but it kind of adds to the appearance of it. I think I liked it when it was super clean, and I'd love to update it. But my friend, an artist called Abyss, is at Abyss ABYSS.607 on Instagram. He is like, he was like a graffiti artist in Canberra when I was like in the party years actually, and then he lives in Melbourne now and has some like pretty enormous murals of the same style like all over the walls down there. But you see like, I've like seen people sharing his work on like big like international graffiti forums and that sort of stuff. But I just met this dude at a house party and like saw him a couple of times. And like I've only had 2 cars, but I've painted cars like so many times. I used to my first car was a BMW, and I just like rattle canned it black, and then like designs all over it, and then I painted black again, and then like just like just like put like big metal graphics down the side and all that sort of stuff. Just like
so good.
At one point I had like zombie hands all over it, like that I just like stenciled off my own hands and like sprayed blood pattern all over the side of it, and just like whatever I could think of, like just get bored. And I got the newspaper up my windows and paint my car. And then I was like, I got to the point because I got this new one, I wanted to paint it well. So I like did a really good black rattle can job on it, and it looked really sick. But then I wanted to like try to find an artist to paint it for me. And I was willing to pay like whatever it cost. But I asked one artist in Canberra, and he was only interested in doing the bonnet, and that was going to be like $800 or something like that. And like I was keen to pay for what like their work was worth, but I didn't want just the bonnet painted. I wanted like the whole car done. And then I like asked this dude, Abyss, and he was just like, dude, can I like frothing the idea? It was so psyched to get an opportunity to paint a car. He was just like so keen. I was like, said I'd pay him and all that, and in the end he only charged me just for the paint. Like he was just like no, I really want to paint it. Like I'll just pay you just pay me for the paint and like I'll do it. I dropped the full car like off to him. I borrowed a car for 3 weeks and like dropped my car off there at his place, and he called me like later that afternoon and was like, done. I was like, and like because I didn't know how quick he could work, I was like expecting it to be shit, because I was just like, I was really bummed that he didn't. To me, it sounded like he didn't put effort into it. You know, it just like didn't take long. And I was like, oh, like he sure? He's like, yeah, I've clear coated it and everything. And I like went there, and I was just like my jaw just dropped. I was like, what the hell? He covered the entire thing in like layers and layers of stencil, including like hand brush stuff. Like if you look at it close up, there's like little star patterns and like all sorts of insane detail like painted into it with like brushes. But he'd base coated it, done his entire stencil work, and then clear coated it in like 8 hours or something. Like that's just nice. Ridiculous. And then the frost like cracked all the black on the top layer. But then he really liked that, so he like touched up a couple of other little spots around it, and then that was it. It was crazy, man. I couldn't believe it. But I guess if you're spray painting buildings, then maybe like
a car's tiny in comparison. Yeah.
And you get used to doing it really quick.
Yeah. Why an 87 Corolla wagon?
88.
88, sorry.
Man, I wanted a van, and I was like looking into getting like proper van set up, because I was like that suited me at the time, I think. And like I'm still a bit bummed I haven't got a van. I'll get one as soon as the Corolla dies, but I don't think that'll ever happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's actually my last car. It's probably just going to be with me forever. But yeah, I was saving up to get a van and like looking up all the options and that sort of thing. And my mum was looking through her like work email list for a car for my brother, and he had just bought one, and then the 88 Corolla came up like brand new, like 70,000 Ks on the odometer, and for $500. And I was like, and dude, like now it's so like flogged because it's had a hard life, because that's just what happens if you use something that I own.
Yeah.
But like, dude, I went and picked it up, and I was just blown away. Like, I couldn't believe that it was like, yeah, $500. It was just like perfect specimen. It was one of my mum's colleagues. It was his dad's like weekend car.
Yeah. Okay.
And his dad unfortunately passed away, so the car had just been sitting there for a while, and then they decided to sell it, and we're just happy to see it go to a good owner. I took it home, like down the highway. Got pulled over like 9 times on the drive home because I didn't have plates.
Yeah.
And I was just like super fed up with that. Anyway, like it was like 11 hours till I got home because I had to like look up all the details every time, because apparently the paperwork that I have is sketchy or something.
Yeah.
But got it home, like straight up rattle canned it black, and like I think I had like a massive upside down cross painted on the bonnet or something like that. And mum took a photo of it and sent it to the people I bought it off.
God.
And I was like, no, like it's like their dad's like prized possession. And mum was just like, yeah, sent him this photo of like what it looks like a couple of days later. But they were just like frothing, and then she sent them a photo of it when it was when it got like properly painted as well, and they were just like loving that it had a good life. I should probably send them like a photo of it again or something.
Yeah, those Corollas are so good. I had a.
Dude, it's so sick.
Yeah. Just don't break. And
and 4-wheel drive, man. It's capable.
What?
Yeah, dude. That's the thing that like people are like, what the hell? This is 4-wheel.
I didn't know they made one.
Yeah, it's a 4-wheel drive wagon. So it's like, it's very limited by clearance, but if you're willing to scrape it on some stuff, it does the job.
Was it still got like the 1.6 liter or whatever it is, like the tiny?
Yeah, it's like got a little tiny motor in it. I don't know shit about cars, to be honest. I just put a big sound system in it.
It's just so funny that it's like an all drive, but like the tiniest motor, like a motorbike motor. Like it's so good.
Yeah, it's pretty little, dude. People there's like an enthusiast page.
Yeah.
Which like people have taken photos of my car around the place and like put it up on the enthusiast page. So like people, it's been spotted like 5 times, like all around Australia now.
Yeah.
But like people on that page put like Subaru engines in them and rally them, and then like other people jack them up and like make them actual like camper vans. That's so funny, man. It's so funny. Dude. There's one that's called like the Rap Roller or something, like Corolla Raptor Roller or something like that. It's just massive.
Because all like the 86s up until about 87 were really popular because they were still rear-wheel drive. And then after that, they went front-wheel drive. But I never knew there was like a all-wheel drive version. That is...
Yeah, it's cool. Oh, I never knew about it, so I got it. So
yeah. You mentioned your sound system as well.
Yep.
Like you're a big music guy, from what I've learned from a few people.
Yep.
What's that? Has that played like a big role in your life or anything? Were you just a full music man, or talk us through that a little bit? Like,
music's been pretty massive as well. I think like probably a bigger part than I could really like pin it down to. It's growing up, I got into heavier styles of music, so like hardcore and metal and punk and that sort of stuff. And that was like, man, I think in primary school someone showed me this album by a band called 5.0, that are just like, I don't know, they were like one American band that only made like one album. Recently, it just showed up on Spotify randomly, and because I searched it every decade just to see if it was like anywhere, because I couldn't find it on the internet, but I like witnessed the CD of it that one of my friends had, and like a bunch of my friends knew this band and just couldn't find it. But yeah, I think that was like year 6 in primary school that I found them. And then like, just went down the rabbit hole in that world. So like went to heaps of youth center gigs and like hardcore and stuff, just sort of the dream, man, like the coolest music ever. But off that, I think I went into like, it was definitely like hardcore through and through from the start. And then like, I think the like metalcore influence bands came through, like Parkway and I Killed the Prom Queen, obviously big Australian scene. So that's mainly like what I saw. And then you get into like the old Bring Me the Horizon, which would like melt people's brains if they knew what the original Bring Me the Horizon used to sound like. Like the EP early days, like really, really gnarly. Well, like they're a different band now almost. But like the new stuff, I actually like the latest like ultra quirky new album. I kind of like. I was like, it's definitely not Bring Me the Horizon, but now they're so far separated from that it's like I can listen to it as its own thing. But yeah, got into metalcore and then metal, and then like I think like drum and bass and dubstep sort of popped up, and that's just like the electronic versions of that music. Like super fast and rhythmic, and then like still melodic and like the metal stuff, and that stuff just like became equally as interesting. And then I think that just blew apart my like music interest into everything, man. Like I think people say that they like a bit of everything, but I love a lot of everything. Like I listen to so much different music, and like recently it's been really hard to get into the like metal and hardcore stuff as much. I'm just starting to make a really conscious effort to get back in touch with all of the scene, because my work, like primarily in the excavator, it's really hard to find a flow if you're like being absolutely rattled on the rocks and like trying to like, well, like you're trying to stop a giant boulder from rolling down the hill, and it's like really careful precision. If you've got like the absolute most brutal breakdown comes into your headphones, it's just like, you know, you like get that like spine tingling, like you like need to like, you know, when you're at a gig and you just like need to throw your body into the mosh pit, where you just like, it just kind of takes control of you and like hucks you into there. Yeah, that's like hard to manage in the excavator. So thankfully my sister is a rapper. And she's a lot of things. She's got a podcast as well now, actually, which is pretty sick. But she was a Triple J presenter for a little while, but also did some rap stuff, and like she just fed me all this hip hop over the years, like classics. Started with all that stuff. Started with a lot of Australian stuff as well, and then like that's been like the main work vibe when I'm not listening to podcasts, because it just like flows throughout the day a little bit better. It's a bit more like, feels like I'm in a conversation sort of thing than like someone just screaming at me. And like it sucks, man, because that's like my lifeblood. Like that stuff actually like makes my heart beat, I think. Like I need that heavy music, and at times I'm like, you know, something will be wrong, like I'll just feel like something's missing a little bit in my life, and then I'm like, I haven't listened to heavy music for like, you know, like a week or something like that, and then I'll just like find something gnarly and slap it on, and everything will make sense again. It'll all just be like perfect. That's sick. You're a heavy fan as well, right? Like I think I heard in that first podcast with Baxter and Jai.
Similar thing, yeah. Like emo was my foray into it, like punk, emo, like skater punk, I guess.
Yeah.
And then it turned into like CYK, like that kind of skater punk. Then
that stuff like the hardcore like influence, I think.
Yeah.
Or like for me, that sort of put me down that avenue.
and then I end up in hardcore metal, then more kind of classic metal as well. Like my dad had all like the Black Sabbath albums on vinyl, like, and all Led Zeppelin and stuff on vinyl, and that's what I kind of grew up with. Yeah, just got into real heavy stuff. But then I'm the same now. Like you can't. If I put on a metal, because I work from home, if I put on a metal record at home, I won't get any work done. Like, I'll just be like amped. I want to go for a ride, go to the gym.
Yeah.
So
yeah, dude.
That chill hip hop vibe, or something a little bit more mellow, even like light trance or something like that. You just got to have something that just ticks through, and then it's much better.
Yeah, yeah. For a while, like some like maybe like chill drum and bass was like as chill as my music taste got, and like I'd be listening to that stuff to like relax, and people would be like, "What the fuck is this? Like this is like super fast tempo, like flat out." But it's like you don't know what I normally do.
It gets
I'm yet to go through my like classic metal stage, but I feel like it's coming. I've been listening to the Downbeat podcast lately, which is the dude from Straight from the Path, like the drummer from Straight from the Path podcast. And like they were talking about it the other day, how it's like it just like eventually, I think they're a bit older than me, and it eventually just like something eventually just sucks you down that hole. So I'm like, I'm waiting for that, but I just it hasn't done it for me yet. I think like recently I found that the BMX scene is getting heaps into doom metal, and like I think whether it's like because I started listening to it ironically, or like whether it's actually just it is hell sick, but like it's pretty funny. Like it's almost a bit cheesy, but it's also like really sick. It's just super heavy. It's just like a breakdown is all they play, really.
Breakdowns just have got bigger. Like it just start to finish now. Like
isn't it interesting? Like music's still getting heavier, man. Like hardcore is still finding like bands like Knocked Loose come through and like just like what the hell? Like how did he get that heavy? It's crazy.
And then you go into
those breakdowns explode almost.
And then you go into like full Euro metal, like Norwegian stuff. And it's just like I need to chill. Like this is heavy.
It's an assault. Actually an assault. But I lost like not lost touch, but I lost my like up to dateness, like keeping track with the scene for a little while there, and I'm trying to get back into it now. Also, for a little while with the metalcore stuff, I got really sick of I went through a phase where I just like I needed the like Die Art Is Murder, like Cancer Bats, like husky yelling voice instead of a singing voice, and I like lost track of like the Architects, like more singing, sort of auto-tuning almost. Like by no means do I want to take Architects down a peg by saying auto-tune, but I don't think they do auto-tune. But there's like metalcore kind of went in to that realm that was a bit like overproduced almost. And I wanted to go back to like Gallows and like all the all the hardcore bands that were just like gritty as hell, and there wasn't that much of that. So it was like I lost my flow with the scene for a little while.
It's when like Asking Alexandria and
see, I froth those bands, but it took over, and there was so much of it. That was all it was for a little while.
The Australian bands,
like we came as Romans and House First Hurricane and all those bands.
They were.
House First Hurricane was like they were like almost in the leading front of that. I think that first like Forfeiture album or EP or whatever it was. Or maybe that was a song. I don't know what it was.
No, I think you're right. But then there's that Australian band. It's on the tip of my tongue. They're like massive. Just full team.
Hands Like Houses?
Nah, they're good. I like them.
Trent from that band is from Canberra, and like I've ridden with him a bunch of times, and like I talk to him about bikes every now and then. It'd be cool to catch up with a ride. I don't know if you'd ever listen to this, Trent, but one day if I ever make a cool edit, I'd love to use your music.
Well, the original bassist from like Parkway's here, and he's like he is a full roadie now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny? There's like that side to the like roadie scene. There's like the ultra tattooed like pierced
like,
roadie side of things as well.
Almost like the hipster metalheads from back in the day. This is destroying me now. I can't remember this band because they're like.
What do they sound like? What have you seen?
They're like the biggest biggest post-core hardcore.
So it's not North Lane, but
No.
Is it? No, it's in Hearts Lake.
Like it's mainstream stuff.
Oh, really? No, either of those bands?
No.
Dude, this is that thing where like when I'm listening to the podcast, I'm like yelling.
Yeah, everyone's like, yelling at us right now.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. I'm gonna cut all this, but yeah.
Dude, it'll pop up for sure. Yeah, so just cut to you saying the band straight away.
Yeah. If I don't find it in the next 10 seconds, I'm giving it up. They're super auto-tuned though, and like almost every music video they do is raining. All their songs sound the same.
Where would you put them on the? Oh wait, Amity.
Amity. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I think Amity was a big part of losing interest in that scene. Yeah. I think Amity had a couple of albums, like, and this is just opinion based, obviously, but there was a couple of albums that, like, I think someone actually did just mix them into a song, like the whole album, cut up all the songs and just made one song. Yeah. Amity, I used to like rip into Amity on like, it was just like songs about please don't kill yourself, but by the ocean, like that was the theme, I think.
Yeah,
I liked it, but just got tired of it. I think it's just overplaying. Overplaying is the worst thing. That's why it's good listening to everything. And
it was very just repetitive, as you say. Like every song, you could almost guess what was going to happen next. Like what was going to happen.
Well, I guess they found what was working and stuff with it. Also, the vocalists, they're like, I don't know what you call it. The like screaming vocalist. He kind of sounded like he just got out of the dentist and he had like cotton wool buds in his. Like I always there was like something like a frog in his throat or something. It was just like this little. Yeah, I like it's funny. Like I watch what I say and like in any context about people in bands and that sort of stuff now, because it's like that. So, like if you for sure like writing stuff online, like some people do just actually look through random forums and stuff, and like everyone's real people. Like even the people that are like superstars are real people. Like some people in the real public eye like have lots and lots of money, like they can deal with it, they'll be all right. But like, man, I just don't rip into like minor celebrities or people who try really hard to make nice music and bands and that sort of stuff these days. So like although it's all just personal preference, but there's definitely things I like and don't like.
At the end of the day, I can say as much as I want, but they're the ones that are like playing out shows and selling.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I feel like Amity's. Yeah. I mean, I guess what is it? Aaron is like a bit like, he's like open with his feelings and that stuff, and I think the band's fandom has affected him before, so. I think that's what a lot of like their music's about and that sort of thing. Yeah. Like, I think I try to like keep my, like I'll never say I hate a band or hate a particular person in a band anymore, or like never write anything down that like I would ever want anyone to see, because they're all still doing shit they love. Like that's sick.
Yeah, they're fun.
Anyone doing that anywhere in any context, as long as it doesn't bother other people, is sick, I reckon.
Yeah, 100%. We might start wrapping things up a bit. You got to get home, and this is going to be our long.
Look how big this Red Bull is. I'll get home regardless. I'm not much of an energy drink person, and this is a weird choice for me.
You're just having a heart attack on the way home.
Yep. You have to slow down all of my speech from this podcast.
Pinging.
Probably been talking real fast.
We'll start wrapping it up and getting things done. But always got 3 questions, as you know. Probably prepared. What advice would you give to someone that wants to become a trail builder, or just kind of get into a job that they dream of? Like, what advice would you have?
A job that you dream of is like, I think that goes back to almost high school days, when you're in high school and people told you that if you didn't work out what you wanted to do then and there, like you'd close all the doors for all other opportunities for the rest of your life. Like you had to make the decision basically out of high school or in college. I found that was like, that stressed me out so much and almost like pulled my focus away from actually being able to think about what I wanted to do in life. And all I can see from that in like looking back is that my underlying passions, like building trails and riding bikes, is where I inevitably ended up. So like staying true to those things, and like maybe I could have got into it a little bit earlier if I had like drawn the dots between the things and been a bit more career minded with it, which is kind of hard when it's something like trail building where 90% of people don't actually think it's a thing, including myself at one point. But it's like pursuing a little cliche, but just pursuing the things that you're interested in and like just exploring all avenues within that. Like I think closed-mindedness, like, closing your mind, closing doors, like you just got to be, I think something that I'm trying to do at the moment is like not set my intentions. I think that's what all the gurus say, but it's like kind of like work out what my motivations are in life and then like try and pursue the things that take you down those avenues. So like if I want to build things and be creative and like also ride bikes and have fun, like I don't know, whatever else you want to just put those pursue the things that are relevant to those and like put your time and effort into that. And then whether you specialize or whether you do a million different things, like you're at least taking steps in a direction. Like as long as you're moving somewhere, like you're going to get to something. So if you've got, if the question is like, how do I pursue my dreams? Like if you've got a dream in mind, just keep working at it. Like that's the thing, like do everything relevant to pursuing that. Like, and don't be disheartened if you have to go around something else. Like you might have to go a different way, like work a different job for a bunch of years to save some money to then come back and do something else. Like time is like a lot longer than people think it is when they're young. So like there's heaps of time to do shit. Like I did like 7 years of work in the glass and glazing industry and like, and now I'm a trail builder and like, I don't know where those 7 years are. I have no idea where that time is, but like it happened, so it's crazy. But specifically trail building, I've like the project that I'm on at the moment, I've had to like hire and train, well not hire, but I've like helped with shortlisting and then like I've trained a lot of people, and quite common is the young person that starts and then doesn't realize that it's going to be hard work. Or the old person that doesn't. There's like age is irrelevant, but experience is very relevant, I think. So like if you worked a bunch of jobs, you know that people don't pay you to do something that's easy or like that they could do themselves. So you kind of make that connection and realize that you have to put some effort into to get the rewards. So I don't think it's like there's some people, there's a project up in Wollongong at the moment that Dirt Art's doing, and apparently there's like a 16-year-old there who's like smashing it, like going harder than anyone else out there. And like that's obviously not age-based, but like that dude's obviously just worked out what his priorities are and like what he wants to put his focus into. So he's going super hard. But yeah, so don't be afraid of hard work is one for trail building. Like it's simultaneously the hardest and easiest job I've ever done. Like, I'll flog myself at it because I love it and I want to do it as well as I can. So I go as hard as I can and just wreck myself. But at the same time, it's easy in that it's really rewarding, and everything that I do goes in a direction that I want it to. Like, everything that I'm building is something that benefits me personally and the community that I'm really like involved with, or like owe a lot to. Don't think that it's just jumps. It's not always jumps, and no, you can't build a jump on a green trail. Like, sorry to the people who want to come and like just try to rake up a jump really quick, even if the excavator's like left behind super flat grounds, but like not really. Can't really just slap them in wherever you want to. Like, we're still there to do a job for the client. So, definitely got to do that. And just realize what it is. Like, trail building is so sick. Like, what the hell? Someone's actually paying you to build stuff to ride on. And, like, I think some people get a little bit bummed out and put a little bit less effort into the jobs that aren't as sick, like aren't black trails or jumps trails, and I really don't think that's right. And like, I really hope that anyone who's trail building, like if there's trail builders listening to this, like, we have a responsibility to put 100% into all of the trails, because like, it's the people riding green and blue trails that are fun that are going to be able to progress to the next level, and then the clients who like are building mountain bike parks are going to have more people to cater to at the pointy end of the spectrum, and then we'll get to build sicker stuff. So it's like a group effort sort of thing. And then taking that back down to like the base level, if you're building a green trail, like, you still can ride a bike on it. Like, if you don't like riding your bike, like, probably don't get into trail building. But like, if you enjoy riding your bike, appreciate that like all levels of trail are enjoyment to, different people. So it's worth it for someone, you putting that effort in. So like, if you're building green trail, froth it. You can like build fun trail to get beginners into the sport. If you're building black trail, obviously that's just the sickest stuff ever. Like, hand building like gnarly trail is really fun, and like excavating big jumps is actually, the build process is actually not that fun, but the shaping is really, really sick. Building really big jumps is actually just moving a lot of dirt. After Belrose, I was like, that's not like, the shaping is like the most finessing, best fun ever. Like, it feels so good shaping lifts on excavators, but like all of the rest of like 90% of the build process is just building a pile of dirt. It's not that fun. It's quite repetitive and like feels like civil work. So I think just like, don't be afraid of hard work. Appreciate what you're doing, which like sometimes comes from the older people who have worked shitter jobs and then come into this job and are like, holy crap, this is the sickest thing ever. Like, someone's paying me to build trails, and like, I can ride bikes on what I build after work. Like, how many plumbers do you know, like, building, like, they'll like plumb up a toilet or something and be like, I cannot wait to use that toilet. I cannot wait. Like, electricians being like, man, I can't wait to flip this light switch once we put all this wiring into this house. Like, dude, we are like consumers of what we build. That's the dream, the sickest ever. So I think just froth it. Really, we just need a lot more froth. The trail industry is getting huge. So like, anyone out there who's considering being a trail builder, like, dude, the time's now to get into it. Just like, come in with a bit of good attitude and readiness to get into it. And like, the career path is pretty sick at the moment. Like, you'll get in if you've got the right attitude, and like, there's a good career ahead of you if you're willing to put the work in.
100%.
Probably a message worthwhile going out there to people finishing school and stuff. Like, if you want to get into it, but don't show up thinking it's going to be easy. What is and isn't.
Same, same as every job, I think. Like
Same as
everyone.
it, yeah, same as every like. But like, why? Yeah, why would anyone ever want you to do anything easy? You know?
Is there anything you kind of regret up until now? Like, do you reckon you wish you kind of rode a little bit more, or tried racing a little bit more, or
Racing, I slowed down, so
yeah,
that just happens. Regrets, no. Like, I'm constantly challenged by fear, and that's like a lot of the time what decides how much of a good ride I'm having or how I can ride. So I'm definitely like trying to challenge that as much as I can in my riding, but there's like the injuries. I wouldn't say. I mean, you can't regret something that you didn't have any control over. Like, if I wanted to not get injured, I would have had to not ride. I broke my wrist really bad and my thumb at the same time on the Medina pump track of all things. Like, dude, riding, like, you know, you go and hammer that hill, and then I just like looped out a little bit on a manual on Dan Booker's bike, and then like sat on my tire, and I was going so fast that I like cleared a roller and then like landed arms first into like the next roller, and just had like a lightning bolt wrist, and my thumb bone was like backwards. But I came out of that injury swinging, because I was like, I went through the mental stages while I was healing from that. That was like, did I hurt myself riding at my full ability? No. Like, could this happen just whenever? Like, yes. Like, you know, I hurt myself riding a pump track. I could hurt myself riding anywhere. And then it's like, if you're going to be able to hurt yourself riding like anything, anywhere, like I know people who've been sitting down on a cross country bike who have like broken their back and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you could hurt yourself anywhere, does that mean you're going to stop doing it? And I was like, no. So I just like came out of that like, I'm indestructible. And that lasted for a while. And I think that's responsible for a lot of the progression that like got me to where I am on the bike right now. I think I rode this like wave for a little bit that was just like ultra fast progression, because I feel like the skill has always been not there. I wouldn't say I'm naturally talented or anything, but my body's got reasonable ability. It's always just my brain holding me back. So if I can let that go, then that's sick.
Yeah.
So yeah, regrets, like I can't say I'd regret any of the injuries. I would have been more stoked if I like got away with going faster for longer if the injuries came a bit later or something like that. But I witnessed one of my good friends go through, he wasn't injured for like all of his life, and then he had like 2 or 3 years of just back-to-back injuries for a while on the bike, and like it was pretty like crushing to watch him go through that, because I felt like I'd been through a bunch of similar stuff to that. And he is like he's a bit scared to like be riding at the moment, because he's in the same realm that I was, like not sure if it'll be fun. Definitely know that you can't ride to the ability that you were. So I've just been like sort of trying to tell him that it'll just take time and you'll get back into it, just because it'll pull you back into it eventually. But yeah, like seeing it all happen at once after not happening for ages, I'd rather it just be scattered throughout, to be honest. And now I get injured, and it just bums me out that it's time. Like I could break a bone and not be too worried about it, like pain wise, but for sure the time that it takes is just like, a bummer. But if you're making plans to get back on the bike that whole time, then it goes pretty quick, and then you're sweet. Just get better. And like I'm pretty good at rehabbing broken wrists now. I'm like straight back into it, and like pretty careful now. So not good.
Risks take a long time if you're doing wrong. That's right.
If you do them wrong, they come back to bite you. And I have like really weak, useless wrists. One of the guys at Medina says I have piano hands, which is like the biggest diss ever. But like,
so good.
it was pretty funny. But for sure, like I've just got very vulnerable wrists. I can't do anything about it now. Just like let them go too much. Do some rock climbing or something, maybe get on the Keza program, see if he'll take me out for a climb.
Don't get on that program, man.
I don't know. At least he's doing something that is like taking his time out. The mountain bike world misses him. He comes
shredded,
back.
Hey.
Oh, dude. Yeah, well, he hit mountain biking like 110%. So
yeah,
I know.
Yeah. And then he comes back to like that Possums Jam and still throws the dirtiest Euros ever.
Yeah, they're sick, eh? He's got some of the best Euros on a mountain bike, I reckon. Off a straight jump too, like you can just do them on a.
Oh, he does them.
I need a hip or something. Yeah, it's a straight jump.
Does them off of roots and stuff.
Yeah, insane.
He's just like, oh, you just scoop up your feet. And I'm like, yeah, sure, yep.
Yeah, no, you just scoop up your feet.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Yeah, I'd die. Last question. I feel like we've already kind of gone through this, but what music do you listen to get motivated and get amped up and ready for a ride or get you through the workday?
This is pretty easy because I can just break it down into categories. Like, on the hand tools, it's like heavy music. Like, either I'll separate all the genres for categories, but let's say like metal and hardcore on the hand tools because like I want to be like have a tempo to my like slapping a lip or something like that, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, and like raking is something that you can do pretty aggressively when you're raking trail and that sort of stuff. So when I used to be on the hand tools, it was just like, just send it, you know? Like, and that's probably responsible for a lot of like me being able to get stuff done, I think, just putting heavy music on. Excavate is a lot more like flow, electronic, like housey sort of stuff, which is kind of the genre that took me the longest to get into house music. I used to hate it. And then like hip hop and that sort of stuff keeps me going. Nowadays I listen to stacks of podcasts. Like there's not enough podcasts. Like I need more. I need more. Like, dude, I've got like 8 hours a day that I can listen to podcasts in. I should probably listen to audiobooks, but I feel like it's way easier listening to something that's relevant to my interests. Like, and like turning you and Jai and Baxter on feels like feels like I'm like hanging out with my friends at work again.
Yeah, cool.
Like, that like one of those podcasts, I was just like almost felt like responding every now and then to like, I felt like I was in there. Except for when Baxter took us to the bathroom. That was a cool ASMR experience. Thanks, Baxter.
Should I leave that in, like the whole thing?
Yeah.
I thought I cut that out. Oh, shit.
No, it's so funny, man. But yeah.
I must have uploaded the wrong file, but we'll just leave it. Yeah.
No, Baxter's got a healthy bladder.
Yeah.
You did beep out Jai's bike sponsor, though, which Jai let me know who that is. I don't know who it is yet. I'm curious.
Yeah. Yeah, we had to do that. I thought I took out the ASMR experience, but clearly didn't.
Release it as its separate own thing. You probably especially actually it could be Baxter's first video on his YouTube channel if he starts that up. Starts vlogging. Baxter ASMR. I didn't know he was going down that avenue. I thought he'd do something with bikes. So yeah, hip hop flow stuff for trail building, and like. Sometimes when you're trail building, sometimes when you're excavating, that is, like, you want to pick up the tempo a bit. So I'll put on, like, some of the drum and bass essential mixes, that sort of stuff. There's so many of them. And, like, some of them are just, like, absolutely, like, rinse, like, have them on repeat all the time. So they're real sick. Like, recently, the Wilkinson and Subfocus essential mix that they did, like a back-to-back thing, is wicked. Like, real nice mix. When I'm getting hyped up for like partying and that sort of stuff, I love the stupid like jump up drum and bass stuff, like the Mackie G style. Just like it's so stupid. It's the dumbest music ever, but it just hypes me up. Like so funny. I absolutely froth that sort of stuff. And then all the in-betweens is just everything else, like but I love letting other people play their favorite music as opposed to like taking over the iPod dock, the like, Spotify playlist or whatever. Like I'd rather find more than like put my music on repeat. I just don't want to get tired of anything. I love it all. So, and I've got so many different genres that I can go down that it's just like I'll just go down something for a few weeks and then like I said, I'm just like, oh, I need the metal or need the hardcore.
Yeah.
Please put me back. Have you seen Viva the Underdogs, the Parkway thing on that?
I haven't yet. I saw that.
Dude, I watched it last night. It's pretty wicked.
Yeah.
They went a little bit like reality TV with it a little bit. Like there's just a tiny element of that was like a bit off, but it was sick. Those guys are like one of the hardest working bands, self-managed, put all their money back into their stage show. Like I think I've seen Parkway like 17 times live. Yeah. Like for sure, I couldn't put anything above them. It's my favorite band. Like it'd have to be them, but for sure, there's other albums and stuff that I like more. It's just overall, those dudes have been there from the beginning of me liking heavy music. Like I've seen them in stadiums and youth centers. Like
I've
so fallen off speaker boxes onto the stage in front of them and crowd surf boogie boards, like at their youth center gigs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I got a bruised eye from getting hit in the eye by a boogie board at one of their gigs, and then I've seen them at the most massive places that they could play at. Well, actually, no, that's not true at all. Watch Viva the Underdogs. It's sick. Yeah,
I'll watch that tomorrow.
Yeah.
While I'm working.
13, so
yeah,
it's good.
I love their original documentary they did.
They were so sick, hey?
Yeah.
What was it called? Home is where the heart is, and then there was another one as well.
Yeah, but the one where they're touring with Crafter and stuff, and yeah, that's sick. I love that.
Yeah. No,
because they did the other one where they went to India and there was just that random
new album.
Yeah.
New album.
Yeah. And they're just playing in some place where it's about to fall apart. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're selling their own bootleg merch out the front.
There's
people selling fake Parkway stuff out the front of the
and they come and buy it. Yeah, it's so good.
So sick, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wicked. They've been just enjoying the ride through and through, I think, and giving back to the fans every step of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the chanting that they put in their songs to match with the fans in Portugal and stuff. Sick.
Yeah.
Sick.
So good.
The boys.
Easy, man. I think it's time to wrap it up. So thanks so much for coming on, man. It's been sick to chat.
Sick talking to you. Yeah, dude. I listened to this thing for a while now. Listened to the whole shebang. I've listened to every episode, but didn't ever think I'd be on one. But then you set the bar pretty low with Jai and Baxter, so I was yeah, definitely. Nah, they're superstars.
All up from there.
Never hope to be in the same ring as those boys, but I just love when I get to see them. I was meant to ride with Baxter yesterday, but my neck was a bit crook. Been in the excavator too much, but oh well. I'll catch him soon.
He's at Miko's, isn't he? I think again. Yeah.
Yeah. I was meant to go out there yesterday and just hold the pin on it. Yeah. I've been in an excavator for the last 2.5 years, more than full time. So I'm about to take a little bit of a break, I think, and then get straight back into it. Just need a holiday.
Yeah.
I worked on a holiday, so
100%.
I haven't needed one.
Easy, man. Thanks so much. I'll let you know when this is all out and ready to go.
Wicked. Thanks so much for talking, man.
No worries, man. Enjoy your drive home.
Cheers.
Bye. Thanks for listening to that one, guys. I hope it was a great episode for you. Tom is an amazingly interesting person. Can't wait to catch up with him and have a few beers. He's killing it, and his perspective on building dirt jumps and trails should be listened to all over Australia. Stop with the intermediate blue trails and all the boring stuff. Make everything progressible, please. So again, thanks to Canyon, NSDynamics, 2Up Biko, FE Sports, Franked, Dirt Surfer and Crush for all getting on board and keeping this podcast running. Remember, if you want to support the podcast, it's as easy as sharing it amongst your mates. If they want to hear someone talk dribble for 2.5 hours, then this is a podcast for them. You might even get something useful out of it. So share it on your Insta, share it person to person, 1.5 meters maybe. But and like and review on iTunes. Bump it up those boards. Anyway, till the next one. Ciao.